Sri Bhakti Ratnakara, continuing chapter 8. After some days, Srinivasacharya came to this place. How Srinivas was like spiritual love personified. A flood of tears always flowed from his eyes. He was in the early teenage years, Kaishora. How wonderfully graceful was his body. Onartam, in this place, Srinivas fell to the ground to offer respectful obeisances at Gadadhar Goswami's lotus feet. Extending his arms, Gadadhar Goswami embraced him. The tears from his eyes soaked Srinivas's body. As a mother and father love their son, Gadadhar Goswami loved Srinivas. My heart has no power to understand the mercy Gadadhar Goswami gave to Srinivas. Bidding farewell, Srinivas departed for Vrindavan. Filled with sorrow, Gadadhar remained in this place. Day by day, his delicate body became more and more emaciated. Day and night, his tears rained onto the ground. His long, deep sighs were like flames from a fire. Then suddenly, he disappeared from this world. I cannot describe the devotee's condition at that time. Only by the Lord's will did they somehow remain alive. Previously, he had told me your story. Then, at that time of suffering, I saw you. Although my heart felt like it was burning in flames, when I saw you, I became happy by the Lord's will. O Narottam, please always be saintly and peaceful. To the Lord's dear devotee Srinivas, please repeat all that I've told you. At once you should leave Nalachal and go to Godadesh. Give the people the gift of devotional service and thus make the conditioned soul successful in spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya has given his mercy to you. Now you should destroy the people's misfortune. You should plunge them into the ocean of bliss of Sankirtan, and you should reveal to them the supremely blissful desires in Lord Gaura's heart. Speaking in this way with great love, Sri Manu Goswami hugged Narottam, had him offer obeisances to the deity Gopinath, and bid him farewell. Narottam Das next went to Kashi Mishra's house. There he met Sri Gopal Guru. With great affection, Sri Gopal Guru gently spoke these sweet words. Only by the Lord's will do I somehow remain alive. Gazing at this holy place, I will soon bid farewell to this life. O Narottam, look. In this very secluded place, Lord Chaitanya would sit all alone on a straw asan. In this place he would lie down, and Sri Govinda would massage his lotus feet. Who has the power to understand Sri Krishna Chaitanya's pastimes? He manifested ecstatic spiritual love that even Brahma and the demigods cannot attain. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya's bed and asan, Narottam Das rolled on the ground. Again and again he wept. His heart agitated with spiritual love. Sri Gopal Guru embraced Narottam and wept loudly. After some time, Gopal Guru became tranquil. He consoled Narottam Das and made him peaceful as well. Gopal Guru showed Narottam Das all the places where Lord Chaitanya had been plunged into the ocean of ecstasy of spiritual love. Gopal Guru spoke of Rakeshwar Pandit's glorious activities. He urged Narottam Das to offer obeisances at the lotus feet of the deity Sri Radhakanta. After offering obeisances to the devotee Jagannath Vipra, Narottam Das went to see the Gundicha temple. Jagannath Vipra said to Narottam Das, on this pathway, Lord Jagannath, the moon of Nilachal, goes on his procession. In this place, Lord Chaitanya danced before the Rath Yatra cart. Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan filled all the worlds. Here, Lord Chaitanya pushed the Rath cart with his head. Watching Brahma and the demigods praised Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Here, Lord Chaitanya gave mercy to King Prataparudra, which brought great bliss to the hearts of the Lord's personal associates. Here, watching the Lakshmi Vijay festival with his personal associates, Lord Chaitanya spoke some words. With a joyful heart, Lord Chaitanya and his associates honored Mahaprasad in this garden. Look, there is the charming Gundicha temple, where Lord Chaitanya enjoyed many pastimes. Even if I had 100,000 mouths, I still could not describe the bliss the Lord felt as he cleansed the Gundicha temple. Accompanied by the devotees, Lord Chaitanya bathed here in the Indradyumna Sarovara. In this way, the learned and expert Jagannath Das Vipra showed Narottam Das the various places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Taking Narottam Das with him, Jagannath went to Gopalacharya's house. He described Narottam's activities to Gopinathacharya. Gopinathacharya and the other devotees bestowed mercy upon Narottam Das. I cannot describe all these activities in detail. Gopinathacharya said to all the devotees, I will not be able to see Srinivasacharya. Therefore you please give him this information. Hearing the descriptions of Sri Hridai Chaitanya's disciple, Sri Shyamananda, I became blissful. He should come here at once, then I will be able to see him. As Gopinathacharya spoke these words, tears flowed from his eyes. I am unable to describe how Narottam Das quickly bid farewell to all the devotees. Narottam with Shyamananda in Nrsimhapur. Thereafter, Narottam Das departed from Nilachal. He was eager to see Shyamananda Prabhu. Shyamananda Prabhu was happily engaged in devotional activities in Orissa. Accompanied by his disciples, he relished the nectar of Sankirtan. Protecting them from the very foolish blasphemers, he gave the people the gift of pure spiritual love and devotion, a gift even the demigods cannot attain. Hearing from the townspeople that Narottam Das Thakur had come, Shyamananda Prabhu, leading the host of his followers, happily went to meet him. How wonderful was their meeting! The fortunate people watched. Shyamananda Prabhu felt that he had regained his life's breath. Shyamananda Prabhu took Narottam Das to his house. The people of Nrsimhapur became very joyful. I will not describe in detail the devotional activities of the two devotees at this time. The wonderful affection they had for each other is well known. Sitting in a secluded place and talking of many things, Narottam Das and Shyamananda Prabhu passed the day and night. After telling Shyamananda Prabhu the news of Sri Jagannath Chaitra, Narottam Das sadly bid farewell and continued on his journey to Gaudadesh. Narottam in Srikhanda. At once, Shyamananda Prabhu departed for Nilachal. Meanwhile, Sri Narottam Das Thakur arrived in Bengal. Upon seeing Srikhanda, Narottam Das wept. He then entered Narahari Sakar Thakur's house. Words are far from having the power to describe what Narahari Sakar Thakur felt when he heard the words, Narottam has come. To his associates, Narahari said, with my own eyes I saw Narottam's father as he came and went within Gaudadesh. He was a king named Krishnananda Roy. By the Lord's will, Narottam Das was born in his home. The Lord wishes to do many things through Narottam. When will I see him? Bring him to me. Just at that moment, Narottam Das came before Narahari Thakur and offered his obeisances. Tears flowed from his eyes like a flooding river. Gazing at Narottam and affectionately embracing him, Sri Narahari Thakur soaked him with his own tears. Sri Narahari asked many questions of Narottam, and gradually Narottam told him everything. Upon hearing the news of the Lord's associates remaining at Sri Jagannath Chaitra, Narahari Thakur became saddened. He could not keep his heart peaceful. After some moments, Narahari regained his composure and said, quickly return to Nilachal. I have seen you with my own eyes. You will fulfill the Lord's desires. May you live a long life and preach the glories of devotional service. After saying this, Narahari Sakar Thakur entrusted Narottam to Raghunandana, who then took him to the courtyard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's temple. While gazing at the deity of Lord Gaurachandra, who enchanted all the worlds, Narottam Das, overcome with ecstasy, offered his obeisances in the courtyard. Narottam Das then met with all the devotees of the Lord, and after that, Raghunandana sent him to Yajigram. Narottam with Srinivas in Yajigram. His heart agitated, Narottam Das went to Srinivasacharya's house at Yajigram. Who has the power to describe what Srinivas felt when, accompanied by his disciples, he saw Narottam Das outside his house? Before Narottam Das had a chance to offer his obeisances, Srinivasacharya came and embraced him. He then introduced Narottam Das to all the devotees there. Later, while sitting with him in a secluded place, Srinivas asked many questions of Narottam Das. Filled with sorrow, Narottam Das answered each one. Srinivasacharya wished that Narottam Das would tell him all the news of Nilachal, Navadvip, and other places. There was no end to their talks. While he had heard everything, Srinivas glanced at Narottam. He could not remain peaceful. Who knows what was in their hearts? After some moments, the two stopped weeping. Then they became peaceful again. Srinivasacharya said to Narottam Das, "Go to Khetri. Don't delay. What shall I say? At once you should begin preaching there. That is needed. You should arrange for the service of the deity. I will soon come there along with my disciples. Don't worry if I'm late in coming." After saying this, Srinivasacharya, with an agitated heart, returned to the association of his followers and at once bid Narottam Das farewell. Narottam with Gadadhar Das. When he entered Kantaka Nagara, Narottam Das could not check the flood of tears that flowed from his eyes. Hearing that Narottam Das had come, Gadadhar Das felt great happiness fill his very sorrowful heart. Approaching Gadadhar Das, Narottam Das fell to the ground and offered obeisances. Seeing Narottam Das, Gadadhar Das picked him up and embraced him, soaking his body with the tears from his own eyes. He then had Narottam Das sit near him and asked about everything. With agitation, Narottam Das described whatever he could. Upon hearing the sad news, Gadadhar Das felt as if his heart had been ripped to shreds. He gave out a long sigh, a sigh like a flame from a fire. Fearing that this book would become very large, I will not describe all that Gadadhar Das said to Narottam. After surrendering himself at the reddish lotus feet of the deity Sri Gaurachandra, Narottam Das at once departed from Khetri. While beholding the deity of Lord Gaurachandra, who was Gadadhar Das's very life, Narottam Das could not remain peaceful. Upon seeing the place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had accepted sannyas, Narottam Das again could not remain peaceful. Indeed, he fainted and fell to the ground, soaking it with his tears. I cannot describe how bitterly he wept. He could not be consoled. His heart overflowed with sorrow. Narottam at Ekachakra. At place after place, Narottam Das met the personal associates of Lord Chaitanya. After comforting them with many words, he bid them farewell and departed for Radha Desh. In the middle of Radha Desh is a village named Ekachakra, where Lord Nityananda Ram appeared. As Narottam Das entered Ekachakra, Lord Nityananda, assuming the form of an elderly Brahmana, appeared before him. He then showed Narottam Das all the places where Lord Nityananda had enjoyed pastimes along with his associates. Lord Nityananda could not deceive Narottam Das for long, however. Finally, he manifested his original form before Narottam's eyes. Who has the power to describe these pastimes? Upon seeing Lord Nityananda, Narottam Das fell unconscious, a flood of tears streaming without cessation from his eyes. By Lord Nityananda's will, Narottam Das became peaceful after some time. Lord Nityananda then forbade Narottam to tell anyone about these events. After surrendering himself before Lord Nityananda's lotus feet with a joyful heart, Narottam Das circumambulated Ekachakra. At last, after offering obeisances to all the residents of Ekachakra, Narottam Das, his heart immersed in Lord Nityananda's glories, departed. Narottam settles in Khetri. After asking directions to Khetri from the local people, Narottam Das quickly went to the shore of the Padmavati. He crossed the river and entered Khetri. The local people came to meet him. What shall I say? All the people became very fortunate. Gazing at Narottam Das, they felt as if their hearts had become filled with cooling bliss. With a joyful heart, one person said to another, "His wonderful renunciation has no equal." Another person said, "This worry stays in my heart. Narottam will think, I possess a kingdom. Why should I not reside in it?" Yet another person said, "To a pure Vaishnava, all places are the same. Descending to this material world, the pure Vaishnavas deliver the atheists and the blasphemers." Someone said, "At this place there resides many blasphemers. Narottam Das will never get the chance to reside in his kingdom." Someone else said, "Narottam Das has come to deliver the people of all places. In my heart, I know that this is true." After speaking like this, the people became filled with a doubt. They worried that Narottam Das, leaving them in the blinding darkness of materialistic life, would depart on a pilgrimage to holy places. While thinking like this, the people shed floods of tears. As if with a single pair of eyes, they gazed upon Narottam Das. Just at that moment, a voice from the sky announced, "Narottam Das will happily remain here always. For the Lord's will he has come to deliver the blasphemers and give them the gift of pure devotional service." After hearing this, everyone became filled with wonder. Again and again they offered their obeisances at Narottam Das Thakur's lotus feet. With joyful hearts they gathered around Narottam Das. How wonderful and glorious was his entrance into that village. Taking Narottam with them, the people went to a very beautiful and secluded place. There Narottam Das made his home. Khetri was a very large and pleasant village. It had many neighborhoods with different names. It had wonderful houses. The capital of that area was Gopalapur. In that village, many wealthy people resided. The people there were all merged in the ocean of false material pleasure. They did not think, "How will my future become auspicious?" I cannot describe how Narottam Das, upon seeing them, felt compassion for them. King Santosh Roy and the others eagerly talked about the arrival of Narottam Das Thakur. After bidding Narottam Das farewell, Srinivasacharya and his followers at Yeshigram could not remain peaceful. At Srikhanda, everyone heard, "Now Narottam Das has departed." Everyone thought of Narottam's charming nature and activities. The wedding of Srinivas. Sri Raghunandana then came to Yajigram. At once he made arrangements for Srinivasacharya's wedding. At Yajigram resided Sri Gopal Chakravarti. He yearned to give his daughter in marriage to Srinivasacharya. At a private place, Sri Raghunandana very sweetly said to Sri Gopal Das, "Your daughter is a suitable match for Srinivasacharya." Upon hearing these words, Gopal Chakravarti became joyful. The kinsmen were informed of the prospective marriage. They all said, "Give the girl to him this very moment." In the month of Vaishakha, on the third day of the dark fortnight, at an auspicious moment, Gopal Chakravarti gave his daughter in marriage to Srinivasacharya. Previously, everyone called that girl Draupadi, but on her wedding day, her name became Ishwari. How sweet and charming she was. She was like a golden statue. She was like devotional service personified. Her virtues had no limit. I have no power to describe Ishwari's effulgence and glory at the moment she was married to Srinivasacharya. At that time, he gave her Diksha Mantra initiation. In this context, I will mention that the great Brahmana Sri Gopal at once became a disciple of Srinivasacharya. Gopal's two sons, Shamdas and Ramachandra, whom some called Shamananda and Ramananda, became disciples of Srinivasacharya's disciples. Their character and activities were wonderful. This everyone knows. Therefore, I have mentioned them only briefly. Giving away his daughter, Sri Gopal Chakravarti honored all his guests. All the men and women of the village said, "Fortunate is the Brahmana Gopal." In this way, Srinivasacharya was married. At that time, great ecstasy appeared in every person's heart. I cannot describe the fatherly love that Sri Narahari Shakar felt when he heard the news of Srinivasacharya's wedding. Upon receiving this news, Gadadhar Das and the other devotees praised Srinivasacharya as they talked among themselves. Srinivasacharya regularly taught the Goswami's books to his disciples. Srinivasacharya was like the boundless ocean of spiritual knowledge. Hearing him speak, every person felt wonder within his heart. Sridas and Gokulananda. Dwija Haridas was a dear personal associate of Lord Chaitanya. His two sons, Sridas and Gokulananda, decided, "When Lord Gaurachandra left us, our father went to Vrindavan. At that time, he commanded us to become disciples of Srinivasacharya. After a few days, Srinivasacharya has come here from Vraj. Why should our duty be delayed? At once, let us go to see Srinivasacharya." While talking in this way, the two sons departed from Yajigram, and with joyful hearts went to see Srinivasacharya. The object of their father's command was now before their eyes. They became immersed in an ocean of nectarian love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. When Srinivasacharya asked about them, the two brothers revealed their identities. Again and again they offered their obeisances to Srinivasacharya. After introducing themselves to Srinivas, the two boys, overcome with great respect and spiritual emotion, floated in the tears that flowed from their eyes. Sridas and Gokulananda requested, "Please give us initiation, O merciful one. Kindly be merciful to us." Srinivasacharya said, "From now you should wait." He then began to engage them in the study of the Goswami's books, and the two boys carefully studied them. I cannot describe all their wonderful activities. The two boys had great affection for Srinivasacharya. They always stayed with his disciples. Srinivas meets Ramchandra. One day at Yajigram, Srinivasacharya went to the lake that was west of his house. Accompanied by his associates, he sat down there. He was effulgent like the sun. With merciful eyes, he glanced at the path. He then saw a person carried on an opulent palanquin. The lavishly dressed person was returning home after a wedding. This person was handsome like Kamadev. He was decorated with many ornaments, and his features were graceful and delicate. His complexion defeated the appearance of fresh butter. His form removed the pride of golden ketaki and champak flowers. The hair on his head glistened, and his forehead was glorious. His eyes and eyebrows delighted the heart. His ears, nose, and cheeks were splendid and without peer. His face was like a graceful moon, and his lips were red. His neck was like a conch shell, or like a lion's neck. His chest was broad, and his belly and navel were charming. 3 folds of skin adorned his waist. His arms reached to his knees, and his fingers were graceful. His waist was slender, and his knees and feet were charming. He wore new, fine, and wonderful garments. Upon seeing him, Srinivasacharya wondered, "Is he a Gandharva's son or an Ashwin Kumara? How wonderful is his youthful handsomeness. In my heart, I think he must be a demigod. If he worshipped Lord Krishna, this person would put his handsome features to good use." While thinking in this way, Srinivasacharya asked his associate, "What is this person's name? What is his caste? Where is his home?" After offering obeisances, someone said, "He is a great Pandit. His name is Ramchandra. He is known as the King of Poets. He is a Digvijay Pandit and a physician. He is famous. He was born in a family of physicians, and his home is in Kumaranagara. After hearing all this, merciful Srinivasacharya gently smiled and then returned home. Upon hearing Srinivasacharya's inquiries, Ramchandra continued riding on his palanquin. In this way, he saw Srinivasacharya for the first time. Thinking and thinking in his heart, Ramchandra surrendered to Srinivasacharya. He thought, how many moments will I have to wait until I see him again? Grave and serious, Ramchandra remained silent as he returned home. He spent that day in great anguish and passed that night at a Brahmana's house. With a restless heart, he thought of Srinivasacharya's lotus feet. The next morning he approached Srinivasacharya. Standing before him, Ramchandra wept. Like an uprooted tree, he fell to the ground. Again and again he offered his obeisances. He could not remain peaceful. With a voice choked with emotion, Ramchandra then spoke to Srinivasacharya. Hearing him speak, who could remain peaceful? He placed his head before Srinivasacharya's lotus feet. He fell to the ground and remained there, his body darkened by dust. Grasping Ramchandra's hands, Srinivasacharya joyfully picked him up and embraced him. Touching Ramchandra's head with his hand, Srinivasacharya gave him blessings. His eyes filled with tears, Srinivasacharya very mildly said, "In the same way I met Narottam in Vrindavan. Who will not always weep as he hears of Narottam's glories? Narottam is one eye and you are the second eye. You two are my eyes. You two are my arms." When he heard Narottam's name, Ramchandra felt ecstatic spiritual love arise within his heart. Srinivasacharya understood the thoughts that filled Ramchandra's heart. Srinivas talked about Narottam Das in great detail. As he listened, Ramchandra did not reveal his thoughts to Srinivasacharya. Smiling, Srinivas mildly said, "The desire in your heart will soon be fulfilled." After saying this, Srinivasacharya bestowed great mercy upon Ramchandra Kaviraj. He then began Ramchandra's auspicious study of the Goswami's books. Upon seeing Ramchandra's wonderful power of scholarship, with a joyful heart, at an auspicious moment, Srinivasacharya gave him initiation into the chanting of the Radha Krishna mantra. Having now become Srinivasacharya's disciple, Ramchandra floated in the ocean of pure devotion. Day by day, his wonderful spiritual love grew. In his book, Kavikarnapur Goswami has very sweetly told this story. Anyone who hears this story of Srinivasacharya and Ramchandra, who are filled with ecstatic love, will attain the precious jewel of devotional service. Thinking of Srinivasacharya's lotus feet, Narahari Das writes this Bhakti ratnakara. And thus ends Chapter 8.